Hello and welcome to another edition of eDOCS training here on YouTube. My name is Jarrett Maxwell and today I would like to talk to you about the DM Outlook Email Data Checker. This is also sometimes referred to as the Data Consistency Checker. Here's what we'll cover in today's episode. The requirements for the utility, what causes missing email metadata, what the utility does and what are the options, and we'll run through a demonstration. You can get a copy of this utility off of our developer network. What are the requirements for the utility? You'll need Microsoft.NET Framework 4.0 or higher, Outlook 2010 or 2013. This also requires that Outlook have a valid profile. The DM email integration registry keys are required. The user account logged into Windows must have access to the document server share and all its files. You'll also need the DM client API. So what causes missing email metadata in the first place? Here you'll see I have a registry key listed that points to a field mappings key in the registry. If this field mappings key is not in place, then the information will not get recorded to the database. So when you look at the information, you'll notice that, or when you look at your profile, you'll notice that the email fields have nothing in there. I recommend that you use the client deployment utility to add these registry fields or these registry keys in place. If you're not familiar with this utility, you can find out more information on it in the eDOCS DM Administration Guide on page 306, and this is the DM10 Administration Guide. So what does this utility do? It'll compare email header data with the DM profile data. And if it finds a mismatch, it will give you the option to update the DM profile data with the email header data. So let's run through a quick demonstration of this utility. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a quick demonstration of the Outlook Consistency Checker. First thing you want to do is go ahead and start Outlook. It will prompt you to log into an Outlook profile if you do not start it first, but I like to go ahead and start it up. So I've got my Outlook started, and I'm going to go ahead and double click on my Consistency Checker icon. The first thing that I'll get is my login screen, and it's going to require that I put in the DM server name, the library name, and also a eDOCS supervisor account that exists within that library. One thing I do want to point out is when you first log into the Consistency Checker, you may notice that the username has a space right here. Go ahead and backspace that out so it doesn't give you problems logging in. And let's go ahead and log in. Okay, so the first thing that we notice whenever the Consistency Checker starts up is our fields. You'll see some fields here that have a DM designation in front of them, like the DM from and the DM2. These are the fields that are actually coming from the library or your DM database. The other fields, like the email from and the email to, are coming from the actual physical email. That's the metadata that it's going to pull from the actual physical email. Let's take a quick look at some of the menu options. If we click on the File menu, we do have an option to copy the log, open the log, or purge the log. Under the Options menu, we have the Items to Check. And what this is it allows us to select the specific items that we want the Consistency Checker to compare between the email, the physical email, and the metadata that is already in the database. So in this case, we're going to be looking for the from, the to, the receive date, and the mail ID. Underneath the header fields not set, this gives us an option to check off particular ones that we do not want to select underneath the items to check. In this particular case, you can see that I have the BCC selected, and if we go back to the items to check, the BCC field is not available to me. I can't select that one. Next on the list here is the report option. If we uncheck that, it just basically turns off the ability to do a search, so we'll keep that turned on. And the same thing with this fix option. We can uncheck that and it actually just turns off the fix button. And verbose logging, we can check that to have a little bit more robust logging turned on. So we've already got a couple, or 3 actually, emails that I prepared for this scenario. If we come back over to my DM extensions here, I'm going to do a search for these 3 emails. And we'll see that we have some metadata missing from the email. If we look at the email field on our profile form here, we'll see that the from and the to are missing. This is going to be the same for each one of these emails. Oh, did not mean to start that. Let's go ahead and close that email. And let's do a search for these emails within the consistency checker, and we'll go through the process to fix them. So I'm going to click the search button, and I'm actually going to use my default law prof form or law QDE search form here. And in the document number field, I'm going to go ahead and paste all 3 of those in there with commas and perform my search. And go ahead and allow that. And we can see that all 3 emails came back, and you can kind of get a better understanding of what the fields are between the DM fields and the fields that just say email from or email to. The DM fields here, the DM from and the DM to, obviously do not have any information in it, and that's because that information does not exist in the database. And the email from and the email to fields do show that information. So what the consistency checker is going to do is take the information from the email from field and the email to field and any other fields that you had selected and move it over and actually copy it into the DM from and the DM to within the database or in the library. So let's go ahead and fix the first one. We'll go ahead and select it, and then I'm just going to click the Fix button. And once you get the fixing complete, you can confirm that by looking at this particular document number, which is 82360. So let's take a look at it in our DM extensions window. So here's our 82360 window. Obviously it doesn't have anything yet because we haven't done a refresh. I'm going to refresh and then select that particular email again. And we now have the fields populated. So let's go back and fix the next 2 emails. We'll fix both of them, and I can show you here that if you select the first one and then hold down your shift key, or you can also use the control key, and then select the next one down, it'll highlight both of those emails. And if you have more emails than just 3 or 2, you can highlight those and select all of them at one time using your shift or control key. So let's go ahead and do the fix. It says fixing complete. Let's go back over to our extensions and confirm that these emails now have the metadata. We'll do a refresh. And then let's select the first one. And indeed, the first one does have the from and the to now. And let's look at the next one down. And it as well does have the from and the to fields. So that's what the consistency checker does for you. It will take and compare the email information in your database to the physical email metadata. And if there's a mismatch, give you an option to fix that discrepancy. That's it for this presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask us. You can certainly open up a case with us if you need to about this particular utility, and we will be glad to help you out. Thank you for listening. We look forward to seeing you again.